the environment was cleaned up.
The first time I was hearing about this stuff, it was totally new to me.
With social impact consulting. Hello everyone, my name is Efwa Elens Ede with Social Impact Consulting. I'm a development consultant with 20 years of experience working with NGOs, international NGOs, and bilateral agencies to work in project support, monitoring and evaluation, and civil society strengthening. So now, I saw that local NGOs lack the capacity to manage large-scale projects, which can in turn impact their various communities because they have the connection based on their backgrounds. So this made me create this channel so that I can add value to you for free once you subscribe to this channel and get notified of upcoming videos. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching the Development Sector Series, which is Devsectorseries. Are you interested in sponsoring Devsectorseries? Please call me at 234-703-539-8086. As we spread your brand, we spread around the world. And as we do that, we are all changing the world. So let's work together. Contact me so that we can maximize social impact. I look forward to hearing from you. Hello, everyone. This is Efwa with Social Impact Consulting. Thank you for watching this episode of the Development Sector Series, which is Devsectorseries, okay? So we are so excited to have you here. Please just let us know where you are hailing from, whether it be Nigeria, other parts of Africa, Europe, America. Well, America, the time difference. But if you're logging from there or suffering jet lag, you let us know, okay? So we are having an exciting lineup today. Please make sure you like and share this broadcast so that we reach more people, okay? Follow and connect with me on all my social media handles on all things development sector, all things organizational development, all things advocacy. So follow my social media handles for future updates, okay? We have Development Sector Series, which is #DevSectorSeries every Wednesday at 12 noon, okay? So if you have any questions about the discussion in this particular program, please be so kind and include it in the comment section so that we can engage in an interactive discussion. Today, we're going to be having discussions about digital rights and liberties in the African continent. Our guest today is a very special one. From when I started Devsectorseries, I knew I was going to be having conversations with him. I have watched him advocate for digital rights, digital freedom, digital privacy in Nigeria, coming up with the infrastructure needed to just make sure that the digital environment is conducive for us in Nigeria and Africa. Our guest today, who is Gbenga Sesan. He is the Executive Director of Paradigm Initiative Nigeria, a social enterprise that connects underserved people and groups with ICT-enabled opportunities. He's a multi-award-winning development practitioner that has been on the frontiers of digital rights and freedom in the African continent. I've known Gbenga since my tenure at Junior Achievement Nigeria because he's a JAN ambassador. They are change makers in which their work speak for them. They just work in the trenches and, they don't do a lot of talking, but they do a lot of work walking. So Gbenga Sesan is one of them. There are not many like that. When I think of Sheon, when I think of Gbenga, those are the types of people that I'm talking about. So I'm going to go over his video bio before introducing him. We're having a few technical difficulties at the time, but he will be on as soon as possible. You know how it is in Nigeria and Africa with our network, but we are getting there. So I will play his video bio. You guys can also give me a shout out where you're from, where you're hailing from, and maybe why you like the development sector series as we wait for our very special guest. Okay, so oh, he's here actually. So I'm gonna play his video bio, and then we will see him shortly. Okay. Is the executive director of Gbenga completed executive education programs at Lagos Business School, New York Group for Technology Transfer.
Now sells that data to someone else who then comes to sell me, say, all these products like this will save you from everything and anything and things like that. That's an infringement on my data rights. And it's the same thing when it comes to my data online. If I give you my data and I say that, okay, you're the government, right? Your data, because I want to vote in elections. And then the data gets lost, or someone then gets access to it and then use that information to either sell me something or to use that information against me, that's an infringement on my data privacy rights. So it's the same thing with every digital right. Either it's my freedom of expression, or my freedom to associate online, or my freedom to own and use my data. When there is, a move or an action that limits my ability to perform that right or to enjoy that right, now that is then an infringement on that right. And a perfect example in Nigeria at the moment is the inability for me to tweet. So my platform of choice is Twitter for some things, right? And when I want to share information on Twitter, all I need to do is to go to that platform, tweet, and then it goes. But now that the government says that platform is suspended, that is an infringement on my rights. Of course, there's a whole lot of conversation around that, but that is also a very good example of an infringement of digital rights. Okay, I think we may be disconnected from each other. Oh, I think Afua dropped off. Okay, I'll just go ahead and describe, answer the second question so that when she comes back, we can then continue the conversation. And as I was saying, I was giving the example of how there can be an infringement of digital rights. The other example that is beginning to get popular on the continent of Africa in particular is that of internet access, where, for some reason, some people, governments say, we have elections or students writing exams or whatever the excuse is. We don't want people to have access to the internet at this time because we think they will share information on the internet. We don't want them to share. And then they shut down the internet. Now, when the internet is shut down, it means that, yes, you may actually have a legitimate fear that, oh, there's some bad people using the internet, but it doesn't give you, that right to shut it down for everyone else. Because when you do that, it means that someone who is using it for health reasons is unable to use it. It means someone who is using it for educational reasons is unable to use it. It means somebody who is using it for recreational reasons, for shopping, for business reasons, is unable to use it. And that is where the challenge is when it comes to infringing on rights. Because when you infringe on rights in the physical space, you can almost hold the person, or you can almost say to the person, okay, this is a restriction, right, to what you're supposed to do. But when it comes to the digital platform, you almost can't isolate people. When you cut people off from certain services, not only are you denying them their own rights, but you are denying that right also to many other people. Of course, there are cases where you can limit people's data access and things like that. But one of the major differences between physical and digital is that in digital, it also means that unfortunately, when you limit my access, when you limit the access of bad people to a platform, if you don't do it the right way and using the rule of law and everything, then you also limit that access for the people who are not in the wrong, who are literally in the right, and unfortunately you then make them suffer for something that for a crime that they haven't committed. So I don't know if FY is back now.
Thank you so much. Bear with me. These network issues, so to speak. Oh, Gbenga, please can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I was actually trying to contact you, offline.
Yeah,
But
the network was.
tried my best to hold the space while you were away.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I some more, context with for the second question.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Where some of my colleagues are a bit nervous about doing these live streamings because of the part we can't control, which is our network challenges.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to the next to the next question. So now we've been talking about digital rights. So as we know in Nigeria, we've had quite a few issues concerning the civic space. So how has digital harassment affected the oppressed category we are on in the civic space?
So in Nigeria, digital harassment has meant many things. On one level, it has meant that citizens, are not able to express themselves the way they want to. Don't forget that between 1999 and 2021, we've come a long way in our democratic war. Before democracy, that's another matter entirely. We had previous republics where people were able to express themselves using physical tools, but then the military came, and then we became a country where people could not express themselves, where saying that Abacha is doing the wrong thing means that you were either going to be killed or you were going to be killed. But thanks to democracy in 1999, people began to express themselves, but we still have this unfortunate military tendencies where the Secret Service, for example, have not changed as much. Military too, and even the police, everything is a bit militarized, unfortunately. And so what has happened is you have a case where citizens are not able to express themselves. At times people look at it, Twitter is shut down, so some people can't tweet because they're scared. I am tweeting. I'm tweeting heavily. I'm tweeting more than I used to tweet when there was no ban on Twitter, because Gbenga Sesan, you don't present Gbenga Sesan some of the things like this. It's right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Some of us are still tweeting, but not as often as we would like.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, especially this VPN, it would go on and off.
There are
It's a bit
those
of a headache. Yeah.
Now, the fact that you have to use a VPN to tweet in Nigeria is a form of restriction.
Yeah.
And that itself has become a form of harassment on the emotional state, emotional being, and the financial state of citizens. I mean, your phone power lasts less, because you're using VPN, you're using all these things. Your data is consumed. You have to spend some more money. Citizens, that's one. The other is also the fact that because government in itself, the state, and its many allies have also turned the online space into a caustic or a sort of toxic space, it also means that there are criminals who commit crimes online and they have precedent. They have precedent because if the state that is supposed to protect you is harassing you, then it means those who are harassing you will go scot-free. So you also have a separate level where people are harassed based on their gender or on their opinion. And it then means that if I'm a woman, for example, and I tweet something and then someone says, go and marry.
Now,
Honestly, I don't want to continue that conversation because in my head, I mean, look at it, see the look on your face. You're wondering, how does this happen? I mean, there's some things you say and you're like, how on earth does this have anything to do with marriage? But don't forget, this is a patriarchal society where people that are stupid enough not to have anything to say, the first thing they say in response to a woman is to try to make her look, less than she is. And around here, what they believe will make you look less is, oh, you're not married, oh, you don't have a man, oh, you don't have children, or things like that. Now, unfortunately, in their own small world, they believe that they are trying to get at you, or something. But of course, it's a limited mindset, it's a parochial mindset, but it still has its own effect. When you look at the data, you have less and less women online, not because they don't have access, but because they consider the environment too tedious to engage in.
it is.
Talking to a journalist online, and journalist says, oh, you're a successful woman. And I see this all the time. You're a successful woman, you've accomplished this, you've accomplished that, blah, blah, blah. And then the next question is, so when are you going to settle down? And the question is,
Yes.
what on earth does settling down mean? So you have all these levels of harassment based on gender, based on sexual orientation, based on opinion, based on political affiliation, and based on various things. But I think most of it all is when the person who should protect every one of us, which is the state, then responsible for harassing people online based on what they are literally doing, which is expressing their opinion as they should, because democracy is a contest of ideas. Democracy is about feedback. Democracy is about, I don't like what the president is doing, I think you should do it differently. It doesn't mean it's going to do it differently. If I don't like it means that next elections I can, if I have enough political clout, I can make sure I organize for him to be, not to be re-elected, or for him to lose elections and things like that. But a democracy is about the opportunity for at least two categories of people. Number one, concerned citizens, and number two, society organizations to express themselves.
Yes.
Now you have a scenario where citizens and civil society organizations are being harassed every time there is a conversation around an NGO bill in Nigeria to limit the funding of NGOs. That, because you are getting money internationally or from people, that's why you're able to do the things you're doing. But guess what? Civil society, there's a reason why it is called the third sector. The reason it's called the third sector is because apart from the public sector and the private sector, there has to be a sector that is responsible to watch that the public sector and the private sector are fulfilling the terms of their contract with the people. The contract with the people is to oversee their security of life and property, and to services to them, the contract of the private sector is to fulfill contracts that they have signed. But clearly, as you know, we've had a more terrible response from the first sector, which is the government, in terms of there's even contracts in many cases, between local government residents and their local government chairman. And I'm almost certain that many Nigerians don't even know if they have a local government chairman or not, or who the government chairman is. And this is where the third sector comes in as a gap filler, as the one who then says, so Paradigm Initiative, for example, will then say, no, this is wrong, Nigeria. You can't shut down Twitter. So we go to court. Some Nigerians may not understand that. Some Nigerians may think, what is their problem? They're always going to court. But that is the job of the third sector. Knows that the bridge between the first and the second and the citizens is their role to play. And unfortunately, all of the harassment we're seeing by the state is affecting how the third sector operates within the city. But of course, we know that has always been the intention of the state, to the ability of the third sector, so that in quotes dog doesn't bark and bite too much.
doesn't bark too loudly. You are so right, especially with regards to the civic space concerning women. You've really made a connection that I hadn't really seen, because I think I was doing back in 2017. I had opened a Facebook page called Transform Nigeria, encouraging people to vote, in the various elections. Just kind of, I was funding it myself. I just wanted to create, a citizenry where we are all being aware, citizen engagement. And then what name did I not hear? I'm a prostitute. I'm getting paid by government. And once you have to really be strong as a woman to even deal with some of the harassment you get for just being an advocate and just going into advocacy. And this also results to, a lot of women putting up with physical and emotional abuse in their marriages, because they know that in society, they are not seen as worthy if they are not married. And then, which is the advantage of the state and the patriarchal society. So it's really, I really didn't make that connection before. And even some of my colleagues in the sector, a lot of times when I talk to my female colleagues, a lot of them are like, and they are doing such phenomenal work. It's just, okay, let's have a conversation, let's connect. It's a bit much, but I'm pushing through that, because it's like we all need to be engaged, and the third sector, and which is why I started Devsectorseries, Gbenga, because I saw that disconnect between civil society and the public, so that the public understands that it's because of civil society that we are not Afghanistan. No offense. It's because of us, because of civil society. If you were not in the trenches advocating for digital rights and digital freedom for citizens, we would even be in a worse state than we are now. So that connection, I went to town. I mean, you made that connection.
It's a thankless job, but it's
honestly
we sought to do. It's like the doctor taking the oath, or the lawyers taking the oath. As development experts, we also do the work. And to be honest, there are some benefits that then come eventually, and we cannot, as I say to my colleagues who are my friends in government, there are perks that come with the office of being in government, right? So you cannot take the perks and ignore the work. So also
exactly,
you can't work without getting some of the perks. And the same thing with the Twitter. I mean, unfortunately, it's a lot of work, but there's a lot of fulfillment also. I mean, you can imagine for what it feels like when at the end of the year during a retreat, you're discussing with your colleagues and you're thinking of how much work you've done and how much impact. That feeling is matchless. Yeah, I mean, you're paid a salary, you get, remuneration by the organization and things like that. But there's nothing that compares with, we were able to reach and connect 1, 2, 3, X thousand, X million people with digital rights opportunities this year. And that feeling, it's priceless. But of course, there's a price to pay before you get that feeling.
Yeah, it is, and well done. So you touched about the Twitter ban in Nigeria. What has happened? And I know that folks like you, Hamzi, Sheung, and so many others were actually in the forefront. Yemi, so many others of us in the space really speaking up against what has happened with the Twitter ban. Like, what is going on? Are we ever going to get Twitter open? Like, is this the start of something more sinister? Where are we at?
So let me use the proverb that a friend taught me many years ago. So there's a story of an old man who was considered the wisest in the village, and then a young man who wanted to disprove him, came to him and he held a bird in his hand behind him and said to this it was an old woman actually, not an old man. Men and women. He went to the old woman and said, "Old woman, you are the wisest of all. Tell me, there's a bird in my hand. Is the bird in my hand, is it alive or dead?" Now, the old woman stood up, took her walking stick, walked closer to him, as if to look at the bird, and the boy moved back. "No, don't look at it. Tell me what it is." And then the old woman went back and sat down, a graceful African, and she laughed and said, "Young man, you are asking me if this bird is alive or dead. Well, I'll tell you. If I tell you that the bird is alive, you will squeeze it and kill it. If I tell you that the bird is dead, you will release it and let it fly, just to prove me wrong, because that's what you came to do." And then she said, "My answer to you is that whatever happens to this bird, either it is alive or dead, the power is in your hands." And the young man left the place thinking to himself, wisdom. I think this is exactly what this situation is for advocacy in general, and Twitter, and specifically in Nigeria. The future, where we go from here, depends on us. We can sit back and squeeze the bird along with the government and let it die, and just accept it as normal. It's okay. I mean, as they say in Yoruba or whatever, anywhere, but they go, they say, and they go. We move, as we say. Hashtag we move. Or we could decide to let this bird live. And how to do that will be three things. Number one, not keep quiet. Dear the government, at times, government doesn't know what they're doing. They've tried, don't forget, tackling terrorism in Nigeria, they are trying everything, and we commend the military and all that. But once in a while, you can see that government is even trying. I mean, they are trying, but they don't know what they are doing. They first of all said, link your SIM to your register your SIM, and we'll end terrorism and kidnapping. We register the SIM, nothing happened. They said, link your SIM to your name, and we'll end terrorism. People linked it. They gone to phone. It doesn't end terrorism. They said, okay, we'll shut down in Zamfara, we'll shut down in this state, we'll shut down in that state. And still, we're seeing some action now, thankfully. So it means at times you need to challenge them to think better and to do better. If you really, the problem that government said they had with the Twitter ban was that, the wrong people use Twitter. Are those people left Twitter now, or are there other ways of addressing it? That's why we need to defy. That's why we need to challenge. That's why we need to say no to anything that we don't agree with. The second is not just to speak. I mean, the first one is okay, speak up. Let it be clear. Let them keep hearing you. Like Muhammad, stop lying to us. Muhammad Buhari did work. Yemi Osinbajo, be the son that you are. Don't be a disgrace. Let them know that they have to do the right thing. Second is not to just talk, but to act and to take action. Take action by going to court. Some people said, okay, we're not NGOs, we can't go to court. There is now, thanks to EIE Nigeria, Paradigm Initiative, MRA, Media Rights Agenda, and others, and many citizens, there is now a class action lawsuit about this Twitter ban in Nigeria, asking telcos to pay a fine of 5 billion naira, because it's important that we know that telcos should not just simply cut off access because government said they should do so.
Exactly.
Because they are scared of their license, right? But maybe we also need to create a counter fear, the fear of losing their customer. You may be scared of losing your license, but you should also be scared of losing your customers. What the counter fear of losing your customers would then do is it will make you say to those who say you will lose your license that, well, we don't want to lose the license, but we also don't want to lose our customers. So is there another way we can do this legally? Is there another way we can do this without doing it the wrong way? Which is why it's important to take action. Call your legislator, ask them questions. I've sent messages to the Speaker of the House. Personally, I've talked to anyone who I know, within the presidency who is able to talk to the people, let them take action about it. But I think the third, which is really, really critical and most important, is that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We cannot outsource activity to other people. PIN and co may be doing the hard work of going to court and all that, but don't force activism to them.
Yes.
They can do it, but also make sure you speak up. If the Twitter ban is affecting you, document it and put that information out there. Even if you want to anonymize it. For example, if you're a business person who this ban is affecting, put your story together, share it with us. We can anonymize if you want to be protected, and we put that information out there. The more information we have out there about some of the ways that this is affecting everyone, the more government realizes that you are losing money. They are also losing money because they don't pay tax revenue to them. And then it means that if we don't get enough tax revenue, it means education suffers. It means security suffers. It means healthcare suffers. So at the end of the day, you ban Twitter and then you end up killing people, not educating them and not making them safe. And there's a connection between all this. There's a reason why human rights is good for a country. It's not only because human rights is a nice thing to say. Killed and policemen killed innocent citizens who were asking for police reform. Now I'm speaking for myself. The reason why I would say this theoretically is because I don't want to be accused of saying people go on the streets and protest and I won't be there. I always show up. You know, when there were protests earlier in the year, I tweeted something about a flyer that people, you know, there was going to be a protest and someone said, that's how you guys do it. You send people to, you know, to go there and you won't show up. I didn't say anything. And I did a live video from the protest, not to prove to anyone that I'm coming to protest. I don't do performance when it comes to, you know, to activism or to citizenship. It is my life. You know, I've got 2 kids, I've got a family. I have to build a better country for them. That's why I do the things I do. That's why I protest. That's why I do the things I do. So if people feel pained enough to protest, nobody needs to tell them how to protest. Listen, when people really feel the pinch, nobody will tell them when they will meet themselves in front of the villa or in front of governors' offices across Nigeria. Nobody will tell them. Right now, I don't even know, to be honest, I don't know how many Nigerians in the bottom 30% are surviving. But because they say in quotes, we're resilient people still manage. I mean, things that we used to buy, you know, in my family a few months ago, now we can't even find them. And I'm asking myself, so if I am feeling this, I can't find the product I want, or the products I want are 3 times or 2 times the price, then how are the people who maybe don't have the privilege, you know, some of the privileges I have, how are they coping? If we feel like life is okay, let's not protest, then it's okay. A people deserve at times the kind of protests that they engage in. So if people want to protest online, by all means. If you want to protest offline, by all means. But as far as Gbenga Sesan is concerned, I keep protesting online and offline because the issues I'm dealing with are not issues that are reserved to online alone. They're issues of life and death in some cases. So I think that citizens will make up their minds on what they want to do, when they want to do it. I think one of the problems we have in Nigeria is that protests are still organized. You know, we announce a date, we buy pure water, we have megaphone, and then we meet. That's no longer a protest. A real protest is when citizens decide enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Yes. You don't
now
do.
that be the mother of protest. Many people have announced mother of protest. Taliban has announced it. Many people have announced mother of protest and things like that. The real mother of protest in Nigeria is when citizens have had enough and decide, why are we dying every day? And then they go to those who get a resources to keep them alive and don't. And then they ask them the question. They say salaries are not being paid to doctors and to government officers. How many governors have not received their salaries? And when they drive around the road, stay on the road and wave at them, we still take pictures with them. I look forward to that day when Nigerians will get into a meeting, the governor will arrive and they will ignore the governor and tell him, get out of here, go and pay salaries, get out of here, go and do the right thing. Because unfortunately, we just seem to want to be, the similitude of power. We want to be around power and take pictures with them and things like that. So I do not speak for what people should do. When people are ready, they'll do what they need to do. But I think we need to stop, outsourcing our protests to people. I will protest online and offline. But when people are ready and depending on what they want, they can then decide how they want to protest.
Wow. Thank you so much, Gbenga. This has been such a great conversation, especially talking about digital rights and digital freedom. This is it's a huge issue right now in Nigeria and even in Africa. I mean, look at what happened in Uganda, in terms of what Twitter did for our people there, and then the reaction from that, and then so many. It's like the civic space. It's shrinking, and I think that we all need to do something. And in addition to that, the narrative, even about civil society and the work we do in Nigeria and in a continent should be showcased to the public so that more people can even align with us as a platform for them to speak out. Because most advocacy organizations, well, we build leaders. That's what we do. Because when we have people come, we build leaders and then they're empowered to speak up. So it's like, okay, how, so that when we make those connections, then citizens are empowered. We would even have too many people, too many volunteers, too many people to even engage with, because they would have that platform to be able to speak up for digital rights and for justice in general in Nigeria. Gbenga, thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you. I thank you. Thank your team for the great work you've been doing in Nigeria, all over the continent. And I'm going to be in touch with you as well, because we're trying to do like a civic space discussion series. It's going to be very robust in terms of talking to all various, it's going to be complex breakdown of various members of the civic space. A lot of times they say, oh, the civic space is just civil society organization, it's just activists, it's just media practitioners, it's just us, but it's so complex. And when we have those discussions, hopefully we'll be able to make those connections. So again, Gbenga, thank you so much. And I'll see you in the trenches.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
The executive director of Paradigm Initiative, they have spread to countries all over Africa, advocating for digital rights, advocating for digital freedom, and actually providing ICT resources for youth all over the continent, because youth, they are taking over the continent. So the more ready we are for it, the better we are as a people. So guys, I'll see you guys next week for another substantive, wonderful episode of Dev Sector Series. Also, if you want to sponsor a Dev Sector Series, reach me at 234-703-539-8086. So I look forward to talking to you all some more about just about connecting civil society, connecting the development sector to the public. So the more that we get the support to be able to do that, the better for us all. So again, thank you all so much. And guys, let us change the world together. Take care. Thank you for watching the Development Sector Series, which is Dev Sector Series. Are you interested in sponsoring Dev Sector Series? Please call me at 234-703-539-8086. As we spread your brand, we spread around the world. And as we do that, we're all changing the world. So let's work together. Contact me so that we can maximize social impact. I look forward to hearing from you.